The shadows of evening were deepening. Outside the window, raindrops were playing a strange, melancholic tune against the glass pane. Aalyan was sitting in his grandfather's old, dusty room, opening a large wooden trunk. This room had been locked for years, and no one in the house ever bothered to visit it. But Aalyan had a passion for collecting old things and digging into the past. Inside the trunk, there were some old clothes, brass utensils, and a few yellowed newspapers. However, Aalyan's eyes caught a red leather diary, its color faded into a light brown due to the dust of time. With a racing heart, he lifted the diary. As soon as he turned the first page, a dried rose and a letter slipped out and fell to the floor. On the letter, a beautiful handwriting read, "If life remains faithful, we shall meet again under the same tree where we held hands for the first time. And if I am no more, my soul will wait for you." A shiver ran down Aalyan's spine. This handwriting did not belong to his grandfather, Zohaib Ahmed. It was a woman's handwriting, and the name signed at the bottom was Seher. Aalyan had never heard his grandfather mention this name. His grandmother's name was Parveen, who had passed away even before Aalyan was born. So, who was this Seher? And why had this letter been hidden in his grandfather's trunk for so many years? Aalyan sat back in an armchair, opened the diary, and began to read. Suddenly, the wheel of time spun back 50 years. Lahore, 50 years ago. Lahore in 1974 was entirely different from today. Horse-drawn carriages tangas roamed the Mall Road, the air was clean, and people's hearts were filled with simplicity and sincerity. Zohaib was a brilliant and cheerful student at Government College Lahore at the time. He had a deep passion for poetry and often wrote for the college magazine. One evening, while he was sitting at the famous Pak Tea House, sipping tea and correcting the rhythm of his latest poem, a girl with sharp features and deep, expressive eyes walked in. She was wearing a white shalwar kameez and carrying a book bag over her shoulder. This was Seher, a fine arts student at the same college. Seher took a seat at the table next to him with her friend. Zohaib's eyes drifted away from his diary and fixed on her. There was a unique ring to Seher's laughter that made Zohaib's poetic heart skip a beat. Sitting right there, he penned down a few lines. $text the one who dived into the ocean of your eyes, $. Text must have transcended even the desire for the shore. As Seher was leaving, she accidentally left one of her books on the table. Zohaib seized the opportunity. He quickly stood up, grabbed the book, and ran outside. "Excuse me, your book," Zohaib said, panting. Seher turned around, and a beautiful smile graced her face. "Oh, thank you so much. This is my most important art book. If I had lost it, I would have been ruined." This was their first formal meeting, laying the foundation for a deep bond in the days to come. Silent conversations and growing closeness. After that day, Zohaib and Seher began bumping into each other frequently. Sometimes in the college library, and sometimes under the dense trees of Lawrence Garden, Bagh-e-Jinnah. Their personalities were poles apart, but as they say, opposites attract. Zohaib was a quiet, brooding soul, while Seher was full of life, playful, and lived every moment to the fullest. Their friendship gradually blossomed into love. They would talk for hours. Seher would show Zohaib her paintings, and Zohaib would recite his ghazals poems to her. "Zohaib, if I ever disappear, what will you do?" Seher asked suddenly one day, as they sat under an old banyan tree in Lawrence Garden. Zohaib smiled and looked at her. "I will find you. No matter which corner of the universe you are in, the magnet of my love will pull you back to me. And what if I am no longer in this world?" There was a strange sadness in Seher's voice. "Don't talk like that, Seher. Without you, my poetry, my life, everything is meaningless." "We will always be together," Zohaib said, holding her hand. Little did he know the dark truth hidden behind her words. The wall of society and bitter reality. Seher belonged to an extremely wealthy and conservative family in Lahore. Her father, Malik Amjad, was a prominent businessman in the city who valued family status and money above everything else. On the other hand, Zohaib was the son of a middle-class government employee, with an uncertain future ahead of him. When Malik Amjad found out about his daughter's affair, chaos erupted in their home. He stopped Seher from going to college and placed her under strict house arrest. Seher was locked in a room, where she could do nothing but weep or paint her loneliness onto a canvas. Zohaib spent days wandering around the college and Pak Tea House, but there was no sign of Seher anywhere. He began to break from the inside. His studies suffered, and the pain of separation replaced the joy of love in his poetry. After several weeks, Zohaib received a letter through one of Seher's close friends. This was the exact same letter that Aalyan had found in the trunk 50 years later. In the letter, Seher wrote that her family was forcibly marrying her to her cousin, and she planned to escape on Sunday night at midnight to wait for Zohaib under the same banyan tree. That fateful night, it was Sunday night, dark clouds covered the sky, and a fierce wind was blowing, very much like the weather outside Aalyan's window right now. Zohaib reached Lawrence Garden an hour before the designated time. His heart was pounding, and his hands were freezing. He checked his watch repeatedly. 12 o'clock struck, 12:30, then 1 o'clock. Seher did not show up. Heavy rain began to pour, but Zohaib stood his ground. He was drenched in mud and water, but his eyes remained glued to the path. By 4 in the morning, the park security guard asked him to leave, but Zohaib's heart refused to accept defeat. He was certain that Seher would come. But Seher never came. She never came back. The next day, Zohaib learned that Seher's family had discovered her escape plan. As she was trying to slip out of the house in the dark of the night, her father caught her. That same night, her condition suddenly deteriorated, and she was rushed to the hospital. There, it was revealed that she suffered from a chronic heart condition, something she knew all along, which was why she often spoke of separation. The extreme mental stress and trauma were too much for her weak heart to bear, and she departed from this world. For Zohaib, this news was a living death. He stopped crying, stopped laughing, and stopped writing. He became a walking corpse. Years later, at his parents' insistence, he married Parveen, but the lamp of Seher's memory burned forever in the deepest corner of his heart. Aalyan's decision. By the time Aalyan finished reading the last page of the diary, tears were streaming down his face. He finally understood why his grandfather used to remain so quiet, and why he would spend hours staring blankly out the window. Their love had remained incomplete, but it was true and pure until his final breath. Aalyan closed the diary and looked at the clock. It was 11 at night, and the rain had finally stopped. An idea struck his mind. He put on his grandfather's old overcoat, slipped the letter and the dried rose into his pocket, grabbed his keys, and walked out. He drove straight toward Lawrence Garden. 50 years had passed, and though the city had changed drastically, the park was still there. The main gate was locked, but Aalyan handed some money to the watchman and managed to slip inside. In the silence of the night, he searched for that old banyan tree. Over 50 years, the tree had grown even larger and denser, its roots spreading deep and wide into the earth. Aalyan went and stood beneath it. "Grandpa, your wait ends today," Aalyan whispered softly. He pulled out Seher's letter and the dried rose from his pocket. He dug a small hole near the roots of the tree and buried the letter and the rose together. It was a testament that their love was now a part of the very soil where they once used to sit together. As Aalyan stood up, he felt a strange, peaceful gust of cold wind brush past him, and a sound resembling a faint, distant laughter echoed through the rustling of the leaves. Zohaib and Seher might not have united in this world, but in some other corner of the universe, they were now together forever. A strange sense of peace washed over Aalyan's heart. He took one last look at the tree and walked back toward his home, knowing that true love never dies, it lives on forever in stories, letters, and human hearts.